The fire on the Oceanside Pier will have the latest on what firefighters are doing to battle the blaze and the investigation into what caused it.
A closer look at the safety of San Diego's reservoirs. CBS 8 is working for you to learn more about the state of the Lake Murray Dam.
Thousands of blue blobs that kind of look like jellyfish have shown up on our shore. Hear more from scientists about the Vilela.
I'm on board an historic trip with Honor Flight. I'm Abby Black with the first leg of the trip, Mail Call.
A fire chief's father could have died in this house fire. What the chief is doing to protect his dad and the entire community.
CBS 8 News live at 6 starts right now.
Right now, first responders continue their work to preserve the Oceanside Pier. This video from today shows fireboats putting out more hot spots from the fire that erupted yesterday. Tonight, our coverage continues as we work to get you the latest information. Good evening, I'm Marcella Lee.
I'm Carlo Cicchetto. CBS 8's Brian White is out in Oceanside right now and has been talking to first responders to get more information about the state of the pier. He joins us live now with the very latest. Brian.
Guys, I just got off the phone moments ago with Oceanside Fire Chief David Parsons. He told me that they're holding meetings right now at their Emergency Operations Center to discuss how firefighters are going to handle this situation moving forward and what the plan is for the overnight hours. Firefighters were busy on the pier today, peeling back debris from the charred remains of the old Ruby's Diner so that boats in the water could better access the active areas of the fire with their water hoses.
Everybody is extremely devastated for what happened here on the pier. It's unbelievable. Everybody contacted everybody, and it's hard to believe.
The fire was reported at about 3 o'clock yesterday inside the vacant restaurant, sending large plumes of smoke into the air. Firefighters attacking the blaze from boats in the water and choppers from above. Crews then made a trench cut across the pier, which prevented the fire from spreading, saving 90 to 95% of the pier.
When I saw the images and the videos yesterday at around this time, I was concerned that the pier would be a total loss. But because of their hard work, we're going to be able to save most of this pier.
According to Oceanside Fire Chief David Parsons, the end of the pier was fully open to the public yesterday before the fire. And he says the old Ruby's Diner kitchen was actually being used to support a little fish shack on the end of the pier.
What used to be the Ruby's restaurant wasn't a remodel status. It wasn't like a derelict building or an abandoned building in any way. In fact, the kitchen area was under use to support the brine box.
Cleanup crews were busy picking up debris on the beach that had washed ashore from the pier. A water contact closure remains in effect around the pier due to contamination from the fire, spanning from Surfrider Way north of the pier to Tyson Street on the south end. As far as the cause of the fire, that's still under investigation, but Chief Parsons says they're getting closer to a preliminary determination.
The team is starting to narrow in on a location based on video evidence and the signs of fire evidence that they have. And I think they're starting to get a little closer towards potential cause.
And Brian, at this point, do we have any more information about the extent of damage that the pier has actually sustained?
Well, Carlo, as far as damage, we know that the end of the pier, the last 5% that houses the restaurant, is more or less a total loss at this point. We're fortunate that firefighters made that trench cut because that allowed about 90% of the pier to be saved.
It is really incredible. When we first saw that fire break out, knowing that it is a wooden pier, we were all concerned that the whole pier might be gone, and it's amazing that they were able to save 95% of it. Thanks so much for the latest on that. Brian White reporting live from the Oceanside Pier.
This isn't the first time that CBS 8 has covered a fire on the Oceanside Pier. Back in 1976, we reported on a fire that destroyed the Pier Cafe. Firefighting crews faced some challenges back then as they relied on only a couple of boats and one 3-inch line to get water on that fire. The most recent version of the Oceanside Pier was completed a decade after that fire, opening up in 1987. And back in 2016, a fire broke out at the closed-down Ruby's restaurant on the Seal Beach Pier in Orange County.
It took 3 years and $8 million to rebuild. CBS 8's David Gottfredson spoke with a civil engineer who worked on that project to find out what's it going to take to repair the Oceanside Pier.
This is not the Oceanside Pier. It's the Seal Beach Pier on fire back in May of 2016. Under strangely similar circumstances, a shutdown Ruby's Diner at the end of the pier was destroyed. The cause of the fire? Electrical.
The fire was an electrical circuit somewhere within the old structure. And basically that burned down, and then it was able to find its way underneath into some of the other supporting members.
Stephen Much is a civil engineer with Anzer Advisory who worked to rebuild the Seal Beach Pier. He says engineers in Oceanside will begin by evaluating the pilings underneath the pier.
To look at how deep the burn went into the wood and how much good wood is remaining. If the tops of the piles are too badly damaged, then they're probably going to have to be replaced because they won't support future load.
The decking on top of the pier will have to be replaced, and Much says that can take time.
That's a hardwood, and those are very dense, very weather-resistant materials. They typically come out of the South American forests, so it's difficult to procure. And on our project, we waited about 6 months after we ordered the material for it to be delivered.
And it's that same hardwood decking that makes the fire difficult to put out.
If you've ever been on a pier, you notice that the spacing in between the wood planking on the surface deck is typically, somewhere around 1/4 to 1/2 inch opening. So if there's something on fire under there, it's impossible to basically just stand on top and hose it down. You're not going to get all of it. You're just going to get a very, very small portion to get through the crack. And that was one of the issues with the Seal Beach Pier, is that it smoldered for quite a while. It took them, I think, two or 3 days to actually get the whole thing completely out.
The city of Seal Beach was able to keep the front of the pier open to the public during 3 years of reconstruction, but the restaurant was never rebuilt.
Patience is the biggest thing I could promote, and this is going to be a long process. It's going to take a couple of years to get things back to where, it used to be.
David Gottfredson, CBS 8.
Our coverage of the Oceanside Pier fire will continue. Stay with CBS 8 for the very latest updates on air, online at cbs8.com, and our free CBS 8 app, plus all of our social media platforms. Another mostly cloudy day here in San Diego, but how do things look for the weekend?
Chief Meteorologist Carlene Chavis here with a first look at what we can expect. Please let there be sunshine, Carlene.
Well, there's like a little peak right there.
Hey, I have hope. I have hope.
Let's take it in, but we are going to see more sunshine by the afternoon hours for this weekend. So let's take a look at that little peak. It's just trying to peek through. And you also see a few raindrops right there on our Mount Soledad cam. So we're not talking about any significant measurable rainfall for the rest of the night. Maybe a little misty at times as we still have the cloud cover going strong. When we set the clock in motion, you're seeing an isolated shower near about Hamul, and that's at 11:30 tonight. And then you see a few isolated showers in the dark and early hours, and then we clear out just in time for the weekend. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that weekend sunshine and the slight warm-up coming up. Marcella.
Early this morning, 90 U.S. Navy SEALs who served in the Vietnam and Korean Wars set off for a trip of a lifetime. This is the first group of Navy SEAL veterans to participate in an honor flight to our nation's capital. Many of them trained together here in San Diego County before going off to war, making today a bit of a reunion.
We all trained in Coronado, and again, most of these guys operated in Vietnam as together. Yeah. So yeah, it's a special time, and it helps you reflect on what you've done.
The honor flight veterans are expected to return Sunday to an emotional homecoming, but first they have to get through the weekend, and those Navy SEALs have landed in Baltimore after an emotional flight to the East Coast.
CBS 8's Abby Black is embedded with this honor flight for the 3-day trip and brings us some tearful moments during the mail call on that flight.
I'm on board Honor Flight's historic trip carrying 90 Vietnam-era U.S. Naval Special Warfare operators. And it's only the first leg of the trip, and we've witnessed some emotional moments.
This is your mail call.
Memories of mail call.
I was in charge of the Apollo Soyuz recovery team, swimmers. We got a lot of mail from Germany.
Navy SEAL Mike Dorvey remembers the cookies his mom would send him while serving in Vietnam.
They all crumpled up, but they were still tasted like back home.
And the not-so-good memories for retired U.S. Navy SEAL Master Chief Kirby Harrell.
I got a letter from her which had red ink on the outside of the envelope. That was a bad thing. They were getting ready to break up with you.
He served 47 years in the military and was the last active-duty SEAL to serve in combat in the Vietnam War.
So I lost my girlfriend to an Army guy, you know, in San Diego. I was devastated, so it didn't last long.
The 7,000 pieces of mail that were written by local children and others from around the country for this flight bring it all back home for Harrell.
All the grandbabies draw pictures like this.
Mail call for Petty Officer, 2nd Class, Gary Lauren.
But it's the letters and the orange decorated envelopes that make retired U.S. Navy Captain James McGinn's lip quiver.
Yeah, it's for my daughter. That's great.
A tear drops onto the letter written to Purple Heart recipient Navy SEAL David Sitter from his son.
It means a lot. I love him so much.
Over the 3-day trip in Washington, D.C., the U.S. Navy Special Warfare Vietnam veterans will visit their memorials to pay tribute to their service and sacrifice and reflect on their relationships with their brothers and family.
I didn't cry so much in front of my soldiers because that's weakness. Somebody has a 20-year-old. You got to be tough. But it all kind of culminates to bring it forward to where it is today.
In Baltimore, Abby Black, CBS 8.
What a special flight, the first group of Navy SEAL veterans. And, you know, they are tough guys. And so to be overcome with emotion, it's like, it's okay. It's okay now. You've served our country amazingly well. And it's time for you to be honored and feel some of those emotions.
We've seen these flights with World War II veterans, just a few with Korean War veterans. This isn't the first Vietnam flight I believe we've seen, but it's especially touching to see them get this kind of recognition, the gentleman who served in that particular conflict because of what they came home to.
Right.
It's great to see them being honored now, and this organization doing it, just fantastic work.
Well overdue. We'll have reports through the weekend on their trip, and we urge you to follow.
Abby does a great job with them, too. You may have seen some transparent blue creatures washing up on our shores recently and wondered, what are they?
Up next, CBS 8's Jenny Day tells you all you need to know about these wind sailors.
And have you gotten a text about an outstanding toll payment? We verify for you if those are real.